Wow.
Okay. So the first order of business is to approve the agenda for today's meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Well, I was going to put it up on the screen.
Oh,
Thanks, Tim. I know everybody's seen it, but I was just going to put it up on the screen potentially if I can. Maybe I can't because
Where
Ben
do I
is
make?
only.
Oh, make co-host. There you go.
All right. Let me. I think I can do. Hang on.
Did that not work?
I have it pulled up on my iPad and I can't show you my iPad. Do you have the agenda?
Yeah, take this.
Can you put it up on the screen? Sorry.
I can. Get back here.
Has everybody read it online? I did.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to show it to everybody just so that everybody can see it in case there's any questions.
The transcription is right over my, there we go. It's always something with computers. They're so picky.
Yeah.
I don't think it's.
there we go.
Everybody see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. All right. So the agenda, approve the minutes, or sorry, approve the agenda, then approve our April minutes. April's meeting wasn't was it April minutes or is it?
It was a month ago. It
Or is
was
it
May.
May minutes?
Oh, it should be May. Yeah.
Yeah, it should say May, Van. If you could update that, that would be good. See, I knew there was a reason we needed
There
to
you go. You're right.
look at, put it up on the screen. So the May meeting was an unofficial meeting, but let's just go through the rest of the agenda here. And then we can have a couple of quick updates on what we've done in the executive committee and what the status of the RFP for the proposals for the ISP are, what the status for the project manager is. I think you might be able to tell that one by the fact that she's on the call. And then a VACUDA / VCBB update. Any other business, the next meeting and adjournment. Under our other business, I'd like to take a couple minutes when we get there to thank Van for all of his help and to obviously welcome Amanda back to our humble little group here. Any discussion or anything for the agenda? Anybody want to make any amendments or changes?
It looks pretty straightforward.
Okay, I believe, Tim, is your motion still on the table to,
My motion is still on the table to approve the agenda for tonight.
okay, any
I'll second
second?
that.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Hearing no opposed, the ayes appear to have it. Okay, so this is our agenda. Number 3 on the agenda is approving the May minutes. Did everybody get a chance to take a look at those?
Yes.
Any questions or comments or concerns about them? Any amendments or additions? Okay,
Were we able to post the document minutes on the
Yeah,
website? I didn't.
I just read them not too long ago on the website. They're in the,
Super.
there's a link that says download the notes.
Excellent.
Okay. All right, so I would entertain a motion to approve these.
I'll make a motion to approve the May minutes
Thanks, Laura.
as
Second.
written.
All right, thank you. All right, any discussion, concerns, comments, additions? Did someone say something?
I would second that.
Oh, okay,
Second the,
okay.
to approve of them.
All right, so I guess I'll call for a vote. Hearing no one wants to have any discussion or make any amendments or changes to those minutes. All those in favor of approving the May minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing no opposed, the May minutes are approved. Okay, agenda item number 4, the executive committee update. So I guess I can start on the RFP.
You too. Thank you.
I can start on a little bit of an update on the executive committee meeting that we had last week. And then we can introduce Amanda for the status, give you a status of the RFP for the project manager. And then we'll go on from there. So I think everybody knows the RFP closed on May 25th. We got 2 proposals. One for the CCI area and it was from CCI, one for the Hotelco area. Actually, the CCI proposal has 2 options. One would actually cover the entirety of the CUD, and so they actually give us an option that would cover the Hotelco areas as well. A small group of us have put together an initial bid tabulation and some comments and questions to the proposals to try to compare them and make sure that we're doing this in an organized fashion. As part of the proposals, we asked for references. I sent out emails to all the folks who were requested as references, or excuse me, provided as references. And I've gotten one response so far. I sent the emails out on, I think it was Monday. Maybe it was Tuesday, but I sent them from our official info@OCCUD email address. Like I said, I've gotten one response from one of the CCI companies. And that's really it. I mean, I think the next steps is we need to meet again as a small subcommittee to finalize our questions, and then we need to pose those questions to the 2 bidders and go through the clarification process with them. Any questions or comments? Or I guess Laura is part of the team, so is Tim. I don't know if you have anything that you'd like to add, either of you, to what I shared.
No, that was a good kind of wrap up. I have questions about our process.
Okay.
That might be appropriate to bring up now or not.
We can talk about them now if you believe that the whole committee needs to hear them, or
Yeah, definitely.
we
I'm
can talk about them later. It doesn't.
Well, here's my question. I'm curious, reading our bylaws, when does the board, that's us, the governing board, like accept the proposals? I know there's a whole nother process where there's an application to the VCBB and so on.
Yeah, so
Or you might be able to inform me that the governing board has given that action or to the executive board. I don't know. It's
so I don't
information.
believe that either the executive committee or me personally have authority to accept or to enter into an agreement or into a negotiation, I guess, with those two companies yet.
Right.
So what I believe what we have authority to do is to get the proposals, which we've done, and to go through any clarification, get our questions answered, right? And then
Mhm.
once that happens, then I believe our little subcommittee needs to come back to the board. We might even need a special meeting depending on the timing, but come back to the executive committee and the board and say, all right, these are the details. This is the schedule. This is this is what each of the potential partners has proposed, and this is what we recommend.
Yeah.
And then it's
Yeah,
voted
I
on
agree.
from there.
Yeah, I mean that's how I see things going forward. I'm open to other suggestions, but I don't
Yes.
believe I have the authority to just wave my magic wand and do that yet.
No, I think that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
But the governing board would have to, I would think, like make the decision to go forward to the next step.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And so
Okay, thanks.
once we're done with our bid tabulation, next step would be we're going to clarify our questions with the potential bidders, right?
Mhm.
And then they're going to answer those questions. And then, we might need to go back and forth one or two more times if their answers bring up more questions.
Yeah.
And then once we feel like we have a recommendation that we could live with, we need to bring it back to the board and say, this is what we recommend we do.
Right.
Enter into contract with, or contract negotiation with X, or, start over again.
X and Y, or yeah,
Yeah, because none of them are acceptable or something like that, right?
yeah.
And again, thus why it's so important. I think we have one more person that joined us. So to keep a quorum going in this meeting, which has been kind of hard to do. So
Yeah, I agree. So I've asked Amanda to help herd the cats.
thanks, Amanda.
Okay.
Good to
So-
go her.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments or concerns with what anybody's heard?
Well, I actually, this is Brenda. I actually have a question. I noticed on the invited committee members and alternates, you have John Haverstock. I'm the new town manager in Pittsford, and I didn't know if you wanted me to be considered as an alternate or how you wanted to work that out.
I think you and I, Brenda, can work that out because I'm the other Pittsford rep.
Yeah,
So why don't you and I, why don't we have a offline discussion
sounds good.
to do it? But you're welcome to join, and I haven't met you yet, but welcome. It's good that you're on, and you can, if you have the time to listen in.
All right,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Just a point, what I would like to see us do going forward. I've tried to keep the about us up to date as far as who's the actual representatives on the website, which just would make it easier going forward to keep that up to date.
Right, I agree.
Chris has done a good job. If you're not comfortable in WordPress, but that's maybe Amanda.
Okay,
Yeah, I can do that. Noted.
okay. All right, so 4B is the status of the RFP for project manager. So I'll let Amanda in a second introduce herself, but the last time the executive committee met, we went through all the RFP response that we got. We went through Amanda's qualifications, and the executive committee approved us to hire Amanda's. Actually, we're hiring Amanda. We've hired Amanda's company to provide project management services for us. And then I'll just let you introduce yourself to anybody who doesn't know you, Amanda, and then you can kind of talk about what all you're doing right now.
Yeah, hi, it's great to be back. So thank you for having me, and thank you, Van, for taking on so much, considering the learning curve. It's no small feat. There's a lot going on. But I left the Rutland Regional Planning Commission, where I was working as planner, so I know some of you through that, and now doing some part-time work, and I'm happy to be supporting the CUD with that part-time work. I did form an LLC for safety reasons, especially considering the work of internet build out in Vermont being a little contentious at times. I felt it was a safer route to go. So you're not hiring a big old company, it's just me. And that said, we signed papers on Friday, and my current trajectory and focus is seeing where things stand in terms of reporting needs on the state front, what meetings need to be gone to, what grant applications need to be written up yesterday, and going forward with that. And that's not anything negative to say towards those that have been working to keep everything going since I took a step back in December. It's a lot to manage. So I'll be posing questions to the full board or to Tony. I think maybe it's up to you as the full board if I direct most of my questions towards a single individual or the full board. The difference there being the sake of time and efficiency. So far, I've mostly been communicating Tony and Tim. So I guess let me know how you want communication as the board moving forward. And if you have any needs or wants, please let me know. And yes, Tony has stressed herding of the cats. So once we finalize the handover of things, I'll be communicating with you readily. Hopefully not overly so, but just enough to make sure everything gets to where it needs to go. That's me, the end.
Thanks, Amanda. All right, any questions or comments or anything regarding Amanda coming on as project manager? She's here to help us and help guide us and help make sure that we stay on track with all the various things we've got to do. So
Looks like Laura had her hand up.
I do. And again, just being a stickler on the rules. So we just talked about how the governing board would make the decisions to move forward on the RFP. So doesn't the governing board have to accept the proposal? Amanda, welcome. I'm happy to have you. Doesn't the governing board have to make these decisions? I don't want to get caught with, reading the newspaper when meetings and procedures don't go.
no, I get it,
Bylaws
Laura.
and rules, and
I appreciate that.
things get all.
I guess maybe maybe being the rookie chairman, I was under the impression that the executive committee could approve us entering into this agreement with Amanda.
Bill might be able to speak to history, but we had previously, the board had previously voted to, for the sake of time, allocate some decisions to the executive committee because it had been so difficult to get quorums at the full board.
Great.
But I'd have to go back and find the meeting minutes where that was decided, but there was history there. And if I know Bill is busy, I don't even know if he's still on the call, but he might be able to speak to that. But there was some history in terms of when decisions had to be made, whether it was a certain budget cap or the type of decisions.
Mhm.
Those were voted by the full board to give the executive committee that go
Right.
ahead or power.
That's how I read the bylaws, that the governing board can vote to give
This
those
is Bill,
duties
yeah.
to the executive board, but I don't have any knowledge to know if that was done, so thanks.
Yeah, no, sounds like Bill's
I
there.
think I saw Bill on. Bill, do you know or recall? If not, maybe we should have a vote now.
I mean, I'm happy to have a vote now if you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did do that. I think that I don't remember the.
Bill, we can't hear you. I'm sorry.
She's having those audio problems again.
Yeah. Okay, well,
You might need high-speed internet.
I
apparently,
wonder if when you do that, can the board like actually amend the bylaws so that those notes for those actions are actually added?
yeah, I'd be happy.
So that we know it
I'd be
for
happy to
in
enumerate
perpetuity. All of,
I'd be really happy to enumerate the things that the executive committee can do in the
Yeah.
bylaws, because that would just make it easier, one place to look for it, as opposed to, going back through our meeting minutes
exactly.
like Amanda was saying.
You might have to watch the recaps for those.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Ugh.
Well, let's for safety's sake, let's have a vote.
Okay.
Okay, so the contract for project management services is it's an hourly rate contract. It has a not to exceed budget of, I believe it's $8,800 per month. It is terminatable by either party with 30 days written notice. It is trying to think of what other it's basically that we direct Amanda's work. She charges us based on actual hours produced, and there's a cap on how much we would spend in any one month based on her hours and her hourly rate.
And it was signed with the understanding that I can only be retained if I can get you the grant that I need to write. So
Yeah.
there's also that.
Yeah, it's not gonna last very long if we don't get our grants. So, anything I missed, Tim?
No, that's a good recap.
So
And it's to hire Amanda LLC. Yay.
okay, so I could use how about a motion?
I'll make a motion. We move forward with bringing on Amanda as the project lead for the CUD.
I'll second.
I second
Thank you.
that.
All those in favor? Oh, sorry,
Okay.
before we do that, let's, any discussion or any comments, concerns, questions? Okay, hearing none. I guess we'll move to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
I,
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing no opposed, the ayes have it. So we are belt and suspenders approving Amanda's joining us as a project manager.
Thank you.
That was more difficult than I thought it would be, but thank you, Laura, for keeping us on the straight and narrow.
So Amanda's gonna do everything now, right?
In theory.
We
I
don't have
better.
enough money for Amanda to do everything.
Wonder Woman.
We don't have enough money for Amanda to do everything.
Okay.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is VACUDA, and I guess we'll throw in VCBB updates. Any VACUDA update, Larry?
Let's see, we met Monday, June 13th. I was down in southern New Hampshire with my phone sitting on the front porch, so my notes are sketchy because I didn't take any. Went on to the VCBB agenda, and I noticed GoNet Speed, which is a telco, there's appeals and negotiation update. And for that, they went into executive session, so don't know what happened there. Same thing happened with Maple Broadband negotiations update, went into executive session. Southern Vermont CUD is getting ready to partner with CCI. So that's kind of a big piece of news there. It's been really difficult trying to find a replacement for Will Anderson, who was the program coordinator. That's left a big gap. The chair, FX Flynn, is trying to fill in for that. We only had one meeting. We actually missed a meeting. Nothing came up on that one. And he is stepping down as chair. He's not going to run again actually in November, and he'll stay on as treasurer. And he's looking for one of the younger CUDs for someone from there to take over as chair. Then there was a discussion on, can the VCBB take on some of the work of VACUDA, because we don't have a program coordinator. And so VCBB is looking to add staff, may be able to take over some of the functions of VACUDA. But then Rob Fish mentioned that he needs, VACUDA needs to continue because a lot of the information that the VCBB has used comes from VACUDA. And the biggest thing that's come out of VACUDA, I would think, would be the bulk purchasing of fiber, the cabinets and the associated hardware. But that hasn't affected Otter Creek CUD at all because we're not purchasing anything from them. But without that bulk purchasing, if the individual CUDs had to do it themselves, they wouldn't even have the fiber yet. So that was one of the biggest things that came out of it. So we'll see where VACUDA goes. I said, I think it has a lifespan once everyone gets up and running. The other news is there's going to be a new CUD, probably starting in November after it has to go to a vote from municipalities. It's going to be in Chittenden County. This is really kind of good news because it fills in those gaps of getting high-speed fiber optic to every premise in Vermont. So we talked about the 3 pots of funding coming through the VCBB. And once a CUD is using any one of these pots, whether it's ARPA money or from the capital budget, they'll stay with that pot of money just for accounting reasons. They don't want to skip and take it out of different pots. And then the only other thing was, talking about some of these ISPs that, they need to partner with CUDs to obtain, this big from these pots of funding. So I think that's it.
Okay. And then I sat in for, the first hour before they went to executive session on the VCBB governing board meeting yesterday. And I think the meeting, talked about budget. They talked about, hiring some folks to give them a little bit more horsepower to get stuff done. They did talk about potentially taking on the work that I guess Will Anderson was doing. And looking to hire somebody to do that. The other, the executive committee updates were around GoNetspeed / Hotelco and Maple Broadband negotiations. There was one other executive committee topic, but I can't remember what it was that they went to executive committee for. Nothing really that significantly affects us, I guess, except for this stuff going on with GoNetspeed. Essentially they're trying to apply for grants from the state without Maple Broadband for I think it's 4 towns that they serve in Maple Broadband's territory. They in the public session, there was quite a bit of debate about whether that was even possible or not. There was a couple of folks who were very adamant that the law wouldn't allow it. But I guess we'll see. Obviously, if that happens, that they are awarded a grant to build on their own, that I could envision them doing something similar with the towns in our area that they serve. But watch this space. Nothing's been finalized as of yet. Any questions or comments for either Larry or myself?
I just wanted to, I don't know, there's not really someone to address it to, but OCCUD is not putting meeting minutes on their site. Like the last set of meeting minutes was February. I realize that they're kind of understaffed without Will, but and then the only other thing I was going to add, I don't know if we talked about this last meeting, was when I read Southern Vermont CUD's meeting minutes, that they noted kind of the same thing one of the same things we were looking at in our RFP with CCI is that CCI notes very remote addresses, and they're kind of questioning how they're going to address them, and they've put them in a separate category and they've applied a separate cost to those. So
right, they did something similar in
they did something exactly that's
response for us as well.
So Southern was looking for that to be either, I don't know if resolved, but addressed,
Yeah, and I believe that's one of the questions we have, that they need to enumerate those addresses for us. And, I mean, at the end of the day, we have a universal service obligation, whether we agree to, a different allocation for a certain number of addresses or not. I don't know the answer to that, but
yeah,
I guess we'll see.
I think it's also good to keep in mind that I believe Southern Vermont CUD is still going to be owning the infrastructure. So they have a different public-private partnership set up than Otter Creek might, depending on what that looks like when Otter Creek makes its decision. So that might be another pushing point, just for what that's worth.
Yeah, and I think CCI was open to that in their RFP, but Hotelco was wanting to own the infrastructure.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments or questions regarding item number 5 on the agenda? Okay. Number 6, other business. I have 2 things I'd like to add for other business. The first is I'd like to thank Van for all of his hard work for the last, what is it, 6 months, 10 months, something like that.
14 years, I think.
It's probably felt like 14 years.
Time
Yeah.
flies.
But you had some big shoes to fill, and you did a good job for us, and I appreciate all your help and hard work over the course of your tenure here.
Well, I've had some great, you've had some great patience with me, and have ignored many of my bumbling errors early on, and I appreciate that. So I'm optimistic that going forward, you're in good hands. And I'll be turning over files to Amanda this week, I hope. They're easier to get into OneDrive than they are to get out of OneDrive. That's what I've been finding. So,
All right, hopefully it's not too much. We can also talk later, but I think there might only be 1 or 2 files. Hopefully it's not too much.
Yeah, it's just is
Okay.
it's going to take a minute. But I have appreciated working with everybody. It's a great team. Chris and Larry, Bill, Tony, you've all been super to work with. Laura, I'm glad you joined. I think you're an asset. Everybody brings something different, and that's what makes a good team. So I wish you all sorts of luck. Now give me my fiber.
So Van, where are you going?
When I left Green Mountain Power, I had started off in the field, and I loved the field work. And when I retired, but then I got pulled into management and spent about 25 years in constant back-to-back meetings and arguments.
Yeah.
And when I retired, I said, I don't want to do meetings for a living ever again. So I do field work. I've looked at 600 culverts this year already, and that's really what the work I enjoy.
There you go. That's
So,
good. It's
Good
to
for
know
you.
that.
Enjoy it, Dan.
Yeah,
Cycling
I
the
will.
culverts. I love it, man. That's
Culverts. I looked at 200,000 poles while I was at CVPS, and now I'm on the culverts.
outstanding. Okay,
But thank you all.
thanks,
There you go.
man.
Thank you, Van.
Thank you, Van.
Thank you, man.
Thanks.
All right, my second other business is I got an email. Me, Amanda, and Van got an email today at 3:26 asking if we could submit our pre-construction grant next week or at the latest by the 27th of the month. So I guess this is an area where I need a little guidance from the other board members. What do you want to see with respect to a grant application? Do you need to approve it? Do you want to give me authority to sign it? Do we need to wait until our next meeting?
What's the grant for?
It's a pre-construction grant. So one of the things that it'll cover will be right now the most important thing that it would cover is Amanda's services, negotiating with our two potential partners, and basically getting ready to enter into an agreement and before we get to construction, essentially.
Mhm.
Does that make sense, Mark? Or
Kind of. It seems somewhat premature, though. Is it premature?
no, I mean we've been we've been talking about trying to pull together this grant application for a while.
Okay, yeah.
But we haven't ever pulled the trigger on it. Now we're getting asked by VCBB if we can do it sort of expeditiously.
So Oh,
Good
You
good
know
job
what's
from
driving
Banner.
the timeline, Tony?
Say again?
What's driving that timeline?
He
Question.
so he sent a big he sent another big email afterwards, but they're trying to approve a bunch of grants, I guess, this summer.
Hmm.
So
Does
I
it-
don't know whether we're going to be able to pull it together, to be honest with you. I don't have any I wouldn't know the pre-construction grant application if I fell over it right now.
If it helps, I had started putting, it was very, very basic stuff together before I left last year. So I have, there might be a file somewhere in the RPC's OneDrive. I can maybe guide Van to that. But that is something that in theory I could throw together for you to review. And I asked Rob about that because I know you're very early on in reviewing the RFPs. And for whatever reason, they want an application in, and whatever is awarded can then be amended once additional needs are met. So something on there and probably some quota or giving need has to be addressed sooner than later, which is why he's pushing for that 6/27 date. And then if additional needs are identified later on, then we submit an amended request and they then approve an amendment. And it sounds crazy, but as Bill can attest, since 2020, when we started this, it's been one amendment to a grant after another. I think the CARES grant that the CUD received had 6 amendments on it. And that wasn't errors made. That was, by the way, can you guys do this? Sure, if you give the CUD money to do that, then that cues an amendment process, which is reviewed by the VCB board, for what that's worth.
At one point, Rob Fish also said that he said, you guys need to get that grant in, and you can move everything from your H315 grant into that grant. So the little budget, very rough draft, sort of just me keeping track of what bills are coming. Sounds like all of that could be written back into this H360 grant.
Yeah.
He was just hoping to get one closed out and get the other one opened up. For what it's worth, they're excited to give us the grant.
I think anything you can do to move forward and get funding is a win-win.
Mhm. I
And
totally
it's
agree.
almost a must-do, even if you can't at least try. It's just, it's almost a must-do.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to submit a pre-construction grant. We don't have a choice. Like I said earlier, we're going to run out of money before very long if we don't. And so you're right. We do have to do something with respect to this, filing for this grant. The question is, the questions about, I guess there's two questions. One is, can we pull it together in time? Sounds like maybe is the answer. Not
Yeah, you can.
100% sure, but maybe is an answer. And then the second one is who needs to approve us actually submitting it? And I believe that's something that we either need to delegate to me or some other individual, or we're going to need
Hello?
to reconvene a new meeting.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hey, Bill.
Hey, so I made a motion in the chat. I don't know if you saw it. Looking to just go ahead with this grant application, giving you the authority as the chair to sign And it looks like there was a second. And again, this is just one of those things where like, I think they're trying to clear out before the end of the fiscal year so they can demonstrate need. And the fact that we have applied for that is probably the reason why why they want us to do this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, the other thing, Tony, they were talking about the VCB and their summer schedule. That could be factoring in where they may not be meeting as regular as they are now to get this taken care of.
Yeah. Okay, so
So
Bill's
there was a
made a,
motion and a second, or what?
well, so let me read Bill's motion. Bill motioned, I would make a motion to apply for a pre-construction grant, giving the chair the authority to sign. And Tracy, looks like she seconded that. So that's the motion that's on the table. Discussion?
I don't know how to do a raised hand like Bill did, but
You just did. Laura.
it's, it sounds like from Amanda, from what you said, this doesn't like tie us to kind of anything, but doesn't tie us to the conditions of the current RFPs and so on, so.
No, you're
It sounds
outlining
like a good idea.
requests, they give you money. If you don't use that money, then you return it at the end of the grant period. There's not a penalty.
Mhm.
And really the big thing that we need the money for is, support for, it's going to be, Amanda's project management services and our support of any potential negotiations that we're going to have.
And
Yeah, we're
maybe
gonna need-
accounting. I don't know how much.
We're going to
money
need
it would
accounting, we're going to need lawyers, we're going to
Yeah.
need,
A lot.
yeah, so,
I think we should do it. And give you the authority to sign it, Tony. Yeah.
okay.
Mhm. I
Okay.
agree.
Any,
Let's have a vote.
all right, let's have a vote. So the motion on the table is that Otter Creek CUD applies for or develops a pre-construction grant application, and that the board gives me the authority to sign it and submit it. Okay?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Any other business?
I do have one request for Portland. I spoke to the selectmen the other night, and they would like just a letter from somebody on this board, maybe like Amanda, asking for some of that money, the ARPA money. They would like it in a more formal fashion instead of from me.
Okay.
Right. Would that be possible, is Amanda?
I think it'd be possible from, me.
Or from you? I'm sorry.
I
Tony?
mean, you write the letter, Mark, I'll sign it.
No. You write the letter. Right.
We could
I
put
explained to
something
them-
together.
Yeah.
There's not any requests on their end or any, they just want a letter with an ask.
With an S, yes. Yes.
Okay, it just so you know, it was one of the to-dos that were requested to put together some informational materials that people could take to their towns outlining if it helps what they can use their ARPA money for. Most towns know that they have options for that.
Right.
And how it might benefit each town if they were to allocate some to internet infrastructure. Although I
Yes.
know water and economic development, and those are no small things. Those are necessary. So we'll be putting that together.
Right, but they just wanted to see something on your letterhead from the committee.
All right.
All right,
will
we'll make
do.
it pretty.
Make it pretty. It's Jeff King is the chairperson of the Portland Select Board.
you
So,
say JFK?
Jeff.
Jeff.
King,
okay.
Jeff King.
Jeff King.
Yes, he does wear a crown. Thank you. Anyway, that would be great. The piece of paper that I read said that we have 261 people or households without fiber optics. So
Yeah, I'll put something together for you to review.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay,
Um,
anything else?
yeah, Laura again. I haven't seen anything new as where the Otter Creek CUD was asking towns for ARPA money, right? Did I miss something?
No, I mean, we put together that, why,
Right,
why to give some ARPA money to the CUD documentation, and we had asked folks to take it back to their select boards and at least introduce the idea,
Oh.
idea to them and see if there was any appetite for it. Sounds like Mark's done that, and
okay.
uh,
I didn't.
they're looking for a formal ask. I
Right.
mean, we could definitely formally ask all the towns. I'd be happy to do that as well.
You
if
will get a
folks
better
think that would be
response.
helpful. Say again?
You will get a better response from the
Okay.
from the towns with the individual letters. Yes.
It's just that, remember that the original document was kind of based on having the money be doubled, and we found out that wasn't.
Yeah,
the
we
case.
found
So
that
it just
to be-
goes back
Right,
to,
doubled.
yeah, it'd be nice to, so,
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day,
clear on that.
you know, any money that the towns give us lowers the, you know, lowers the amount that it needs to come from other sources, right?
mhm,
Either grants or partners, or, you know, so
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be good then to have a letter that kind of says that to present.
okay. So it sounds like, Amanda, we're going to be writing 18 letters.
Or it can just be one, just
Yeah, I know,
Sure.
18.
your select board of any town. That would be great.
Okay.
And I'm gonna bring up, especially Van, since you're leaving, and I sent those, my map of eligible addresses concerns to you. I don't know if you'll forward that to Amanda. I don't know if it was shared with others on the Otter Creek COD. Or if it in any way made it to the state level. I mean, I'm not sure how these are getting corrected.
I sent it on to Rob Fish.
Yeah,
Of
response?
TPB, and had no response on it. And I don't know how they're getting corrected or if they're being corrected.
Is that something I can follow up with? I mean, at this point, I encouraged our town to join the Otter Creek COD. The only addresses that need broadband are not on the maps at all. So, you know,
Right, because they
Ugh.
shows.
and there's a
shows-
ton, not a ton, there's quite a bit of ineligible addresses that are shown. It needs to get corrected. I think the state wants it to be corrected. I just,
No, I mean, at the end of the day, it needs to be corrected, right?
yeah,
We also have an open item, Laura. We need to talk with CCI about adding Shrewsbury to their offer
oh,
Right.
right, thanks.
as
Yeah, right,
well, right?
right.
So, because
As well as South
because you folks joined in the middle of the whole RFP response process. So.
Yeah. I think they actually have us on. Oh, yeah, in fact, they have us, and they also have Clarendon, which is still not a member.
Oh,
You know, they
okay.
just took the whole like Rutland County region or something.
Well, there you go. We
Remember
might
knowing that,
be able to
like,
get Clarendon in there too. So, okay.
No, not Clarendon.
So I understand that CCI is one of the companies that responded. Who is the other company
It's Otelco doing business as GoNetspeed.
Speed.
Which is Shoreham Telephone is what they used to be.
All right, so what's the current name again? Telco?
GoNetspeed.
Net speed.
You're breaking up. I couldn't hear that.
It's GoNetspeed is the name they're doing business under.
Go net speed.
Yep.
Interesting.
And Mark, they've only offered or were shown interest in serving those towns that were served by Shoreham Telephone Company. So
Right.
With the exception of Northern Castleton, they left that out.
except for Northern Castleton.
Right. We have consolidated in town here.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Next speed. All right.
Any hopefully no other business.
I have, sorry, one little more website thing. Amanda, it's so good to have you here. I noticed the executive committee, it consists of Tony, a chair, a secretary and treasurer on the website. It doesn't show all the executive committee members. I was
Right.
very confused when I looked at it at first. I said, oh, there's only 3 people, but the bylaws say 7.
Yeah, we'll sort it out. Thanks, Laura. I still don't think that the website says that I'm the chairman or even actually the rep
It does.
from Pittsford, to be honest with you.
It shows you as chair for the executive committee.
Well, there you go.
I
Okay.
forget the other. Anyway,
Any other business, Laura? Okay, thanks.
The only thing I have is I would like to see if somebody, I'll send an email just to talk to somebody and get me up to speed so I don't waste meeting time doing that. So Tony, would you be the one I talk to, or should I talk to Amanda?
You can start with me. I can't promise I can answer everything, but I can probably point you in the right direction.
Okay, just to give me some, bring me up to speed and explain some of what I've read.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you.
All right. So I guess number 7 on the agenda is next meeting. And according to the calendar, it's July 20th. Is that okay with folks or
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock? All right. The 20th of July at 5 o'clock. And then I would entertain a motion to adjourn if we don't have anything else going on.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All right. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Good
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
And don't forget to kill the recording.
That's why I just got back here. Yeah.
All righty.
You have to record, you have to upload it to the cloud, Van.
Tony, while you're on and they're wrapping stuff up, do you have time to meet this week or?
I